Welcome to the 8th edition of World Intellectual Property Forum.
Hi everyone, I am Parag Thakre from Denemer. Today I am going to talk about why should Indian startups care about IP. Startups are really key to Indian economic growth and they are really thriving in today's digital economy, a knowledge-based digital economy, right? But at the same time, specifically in India, I do think that we have a long way to go before we can actually leverage IP as a business tool, specifically for the startup world, which is actually driven by innovation, right? So that is my main purpose behind giving this talk, and hopefully by the end of this few minutes, I would be able to give some insights and instigate some interest in the use of IP for startups. Okay, so here is the outline of my presentation. I would like to show with some data why every business, whether it's a startup or an established company, should care about IP in today's knowledge-based economy, right? Then I will talk specifically about startups. I will talk about the practical business conflicts between the startup world and the IP world and why startups are not using IP, some of the key issues there. And I will also draw about some of the common synergies that can actually help startup leverage IP as a business tool at a minimal cost without costing them a fortune, right? So post that, I will talk about some recommendations on patenting strategy for startups that is cost efficient and can help you use IP leverage most efficiently and timely, as I said, at a minimal cost, right? So finally, I will conclude with key takeaways. So that's the outline of my presentation. So let us talk about how actually IP brings in value to any business, right? So here I am showing a chart, which is basically a survey that was done by AON, which is a financial risk mitigation company. They did this survey to understand what are the quality and quantity of assets that are owned by S&P 500 companies. To great surprise, they found this interesting trend as shown in the chart here. The chart shows the percentage of tangible and intangible assets of S&P 500 companies in last 5 decades. The orange color represents the intangible assets like knowledge, brand, market position, business systems, and so on. And yellow color represents the tangible assets like property, plant, and equipment. As is clearly visible, the share of intangible assets had been growing rapidly, particularly in last 2 decades as compared to tangible assets. In fact, in 2018, the intangible assets of S&P 500 companies were 5 times more than their tangible assets. Also interesting to see is the list of top 5 companies by market cap in each of these decades. In 1975, it were big infra, big iron companies like ExxonMobil, GE, 3M, and so on. However, in 2018, you will see the companies are mostly digital companies which are driving on the digital economies and knowledge-based companies like Apple, Alphabet, Microsoft, Amazon, and Facebook. So clearly, the companies with the largest market cap today are big digital companies versus big infrastructure companies few decades back. So digital revolution is fueling the growth of proportion of intangible assets of the companies. These intangible assets are IP assets like patents, copyrights, trademarks, designs, trade secrets, know-how, etc. Or they are IP protected like B2B rights, brand, data, customer lists, systems and processes, etc. Hence, IP is a major driver of business value today. With that, I would like to talk about how startups can leverage IP in most practical and strategic business sense. Normally, startups and IP seems to have divergent needs and features, as shown here in 2 different boxes, right? So startups' main business objective is to raise cash by getting more customers and hence revenue, to sustain operation and create growth. However, IP seems to be a cash burn and doesn't help directly in winning customers, right? Startups are driven by market needs. They're driven by what customer wants and they pivot accordingly, right? Whereas IP is driven by jurisdictional IP laws, which are very, very specific to different countries. So startup have to pivot fast, as I said, whereas registering IP is a very slow process. At least it is pursued so. right? However, there are some really good conversion objectives as well, as shown in the center of the slide here. Both startups as well as IP is driven by innovation. Innovation is key for both of these areas. Every surviving startup, even if it is a Me Too product or a service, has some differentiation either in product, technology, or process and method, etc. Any innovation comes under different instruments of IP. It may be patents, trademarks, copyright, trade secrets, etc. Right? So innovation is a common link between IP and startups. Intangible assets and hence IP drives valuation drives valuation and business value, as I showed in my earlier slide. That is key for startups to attract investments and continue on growth strategy. This is one aspect of IP that is directly connected to the cash flow. Even though it may not, IP may not lead to direct cash flow, but something that is an attractive instrument to attract more investments in your startups, right? Every aspirational startup would like to go global in markets out of India, and IP provides a big advantage for the same, as it is a jurisdictional right, and creating IP in multiple jurisdictions is a foundation for global growth. IP also enables new business models, and which is quite new, not only to startup, but otherwise also for the bigger companies in India. For example, you can do IP licensing. You can, using your standard essential patents, you can actually participate in standards. You can create partnerships based on IP, not only local but global partnerships, right? So business models are these business models are highly IP based, and doesn't need startup to have all the resources to take this to take their products directly to the customer. They can actually use IP as an enabler to do that, right? This is a comprehensive topic, how IP can be used as a business model, and that will need a session of its own. But I would encourage audience to look at some case studies on the internet. One of my favorite is how Dolby used IP to become global innovation player in consumer electronics and entertainment industry. Hence, it is important that startups should look at different aspects of IP as a great business leverage to maximize their chances of success and high growth, right? Now let us look at patents in specifics, right? Any startup, I would believe it's obvious for them to what to copyright and what to trademark. If you want to have your brand in the market, you obviously need to apply for a trademark. But patents is one area which is not used efficiently, or so to say, there is a lot of myths with respect to patenting. So I thought I will concentrate more on patents. So let's talk on patents as a specific IP instruments here, and how they could be of interest to different ecosystem players, like for example, investors, startup founders, and customers. That will probably make the case more compelling why IP should be a part of startup strategy, right? There is a detailed paper on this for which I had given the reference below. Quickly going through the key message here, patents helps in introducing your patents to the market, products to the market without much fear of others suing you, right, for using their IP. And it also provides competitive edge, as you can actually block others from using your IP. Hence, this aspect is usually important for investors, customers, and founders. You create your technology, at the same time, patents actually help you to protect that and also to provide you a competitive edge, right? So this is one aspect which is equally important for all the people in the ecosystem. This may not seem so relevant from Indian market today, but it is becoming more and more important as India is growing as a strong IP regime. More so, this is definitely important if you want to go global, right, outside of India. Second part is the standard essential patents. Again, this is something which we are not looking too much in Indian context today, but something that we may want to look at. This can help you participate in standards, which are actually a really good source of long-term royalty revenue, specifically in digital and communication-related technologies, consumer electronics, and other high-tech industry. That is a complex ecosystem, and it needs standards for interoperability, right? This aspect is again important for all, especially for founders. Further, IP is a really good intangible asset that I talked in my first slide also, that can be used for attracting investments, can be used during exit valuation, can be used as a security asset during insolvency, and can even be used for collateral for loans. All these aspects are more related to raising cash and hence are of interest to investors and founders. In fact, if you want to attract global investors, IP is a really, really good credibility that you can show them, right? Hence, it should answer why patents, if done properly, are really important assets and investments that startups and investors should consider. However, there is always a question of how and when to make such decisions and spend on IP strategy. So here are a few recommendations. Again, I'm trying to be as pragmatic and as business oriented as possible and not just philosophical and ideological here. So my recommendations are basically on 3 lines. One is IP strategy. Second is on how to reduce cost, how to do IP at a minimal cost. And third is what are some of the systems and processes you can put embed in your startup right from the beginning that will help you to have a IP edge, right? So number one is the business model, right? So do not look IP in isolation, right? It all depends on what is your business model. Is really IP relevant to you? So for example, if you are a B2B company, you are working in a high tech or a deep tech technologies, which are long cycle businesses, right? I think patents are really key. Go for patenting as early and as much as possible, right? At the same time, if it's a B2C company, you're selling commodities and it's a short cycle business, probably patents are not for you. There are other instruments of IP that you can look at, for example, copyright, trademark, and keeping your processes trade secret and so on and so forth. Other thing is understand your customers and competition. This is again in line with your business model, right? Understand what you are selling to your customers, what is the value you are bringing to your customers. Is IP going to bring any value? For example, if you have a patent, will it give more confidence to the customer that you are in the game for long, right? And you're really strong in technology. If that is the brand, if patents can actually help you project that, make sure that you use patents as one of the source of creating brand, right? And also it helps you to show away competition because having patents means you are actually saying that we have patented these ideas and technologies and this belongs to us. So if you want to use it, you have to contact us, right? So giving a customer as well as competition edge is really important. That is also oriented towards your business model, right? Think system level. Most of the startups go for 1 or 2 patents for the sake of it sometimes, but do not just do patenting for the sake of it. Look at it as a long-term strategy and a holistic strategy. Do not just file one patent. One patent is it has much lesser value as compared to a complete portfolio. So look at your products and services and look at different aspects of it that you would like to patent. Try to patent as much as possible on the system side, on the application side as compared to method side, because method patents are really difficult to find if someone is infringing them, right? Connect your patent strategy with your business and go-to-market strategy. For example, you're working in India is your market today, but if you want to expand in neighboring countries or in other continents, what are those places where there is a need for your products and services, and those are the geographies in which you should strategize filing IP, right? And then have the freedom to operate and patentability on those countries. Also look whether you want to create standard essential patents or do you aspire to create standard essential patents? Do you actually want to create IP and license it using it as a business model? So that is how you actually should look at your IP strategy to meet your business and market goals, right? So these are more strategy oriented stuff. From cost perspective, right? So everyone think that it costs a hell to create a good patent portfolio. Yes, it is a cost intensive process, but you don't need to put all the money right in the beginning. It can be staggered over a period of time so that you can actually extract value from the investment that you're doing in creating IP. So go provisional route instead of filing the non-provisional patent. First file the provisional patent so that you have 12 months to test your ideas and then decide whether you want to file IP or not, right? Similarly, if you want to go outside of India, go through PCT route because it gives you some time, a couple of years to actually test your ideas in the market and see whether you want to go into the national phase in different countries, right? So that will help you stagger your cost, right? Also, if cost is really an issue for you, and filing patents looks to be a really costly affair, then make sure that you have trade secrets in place. And again, this is you should decide what you want to disclose to the world and what you do not want to disclose, and you should take care of all the necessary precautions so that you just do not tell your core IP to others without even thinking about it, right? So keep it trade secrets. Sometimes it is also possible that somebody can just imitate your product or service by looking at it, right? So and then if you do not want to patent it, at least go for a defensive publication, right? So that at least you have freedom to operate in the market, right? Other people will not patent it. You won't be patenting it, but the other people may not be patenting it either because your defensive publication will become a prior art for them. So these are certain things that you should think through, right, while looking at your IP strategy and what you should do. Other pieces, do-it-yourself IP due diligence. I would say every startup should look at who are their competitors, what are their products in the market, what are the other IPs in the what are the other patents in the patents already published, right? This will help you to understand whether what you're bringing on the table is really novel, and will it lead to any trouble once you're in the market, because you might be infringing someone else's IP, right? Again, I recommend it to do it yourself in the beginning, because it will also help you to learn. There are many open sources. You can go to websites of patent offices and search for patents and stuff like that, and also create a little bit of awareness how IP world works. There are so many free lectures happening. Government is also pushing so much things. So leverage those things. Do it yourself. It will not involve any cost, right? And you also know that what you actually need in the IP strategy then, right? And if there are any red flags right in the beginning. Another piece I would like to suggest is to employ or engage with a IP consultant or an advisor who is really good in terms of market understanding, your understanding of your industrial vertical, understanding of IP as well as understanding of technology. Why I'm saying all those four pieces is because just understanding IP is not enough for creating good IP strategy. You need to have the advisor or a consultant need to have a holistic view and a credibility to advise you. That actually comes at need on a need basis, so you can pay them on per hour basis rather than actually giving a long-term contract. So that will make sure that you're again staggering cost, and you're trying to understand from that person how exactly to strategize, and then take much bigger step which might be more cost intensive, right? Other thing that you may want to consider is having a IP savvy operating processes. So for example, consider always a non-disclosure agreement with your customers or with your suppliers so that you are protected by contract laws. Similarly, when you are hiring employees, make sure there are clauses in your employment contract that protects your IP, right? So those are some of the simple things. It doesn't involve a lot of cost, but more of a thought process and a mindset and a culture, right? IP oriented culture and a mindset, right? So at the end, I would say be aspirational and pragmatic. Aspirational because if you are creating a startup, I believe you are doing it for a purpose. You want to change and put a dent in the universe. If you really want to do it, you should also protect what you're creating, right? So and also take it to a larger scale, not only in India but outside of India, right? So IP will help you to help your aspirations. At the same time, be pragmatic because, as I said, these are all cost intensive, but you don't need to put all the eggs in the same basket right in the beginning. You can stagger your cost, make sure that you think strategically, and then put the right investment at the right time, right? So with that, I would go to my key takeaways in my next slide. Just to summarize, as I said, cash is the king and customer is the key. Think about what customer is buying and how IP can help. Getting cash flow is important, but deciding on where to spend is equally important, right? So prioritizing IP as a part of your business strategy will provide you leverage in space that is in multiple geographies and in time that is over a period of life cycle of your IP. Right? IP is a key enabler for entry into international markets. So execute locally, test the markets, and keep an eye on international markets, and align your IP strategy accordingly. Without IP, it is going to be really, really tough if you want to take your products and services outside of India. Right? IP is an intangible asset that helps you increase your valuation and hence attract tangible investments. So treat IP spend as an investment, not merely as a cost, right? And remember, IP protects your future, it protects your technology, it protects your creations, right? So think of it that way. With that, I end my talk. We are Denemer. We are in India now. We are based out of Gurgaon as well as in Bangalore. This is some of our APEC consulting team who comes with a really deep technical expertise and industry expertise and credibility along with IP, right? So feel free to connect with us and talk to us. More than happy to engage. Any questions, please, I'm available on chat. Thank you.